let's talk about how you dated a drug dealer. I mean, I believe that our souls would still be here, we'll just be different personalities and look differently. Really deep right now.
No more Cosmos for you.
No.
See, this is when the stories that she's bringing up come out because I've had a couple of these.
Hi guys, so welcome to our first episode of Cocktails with My Mom. We drink some yummy cocktails and talk just about random things and kind of see where it goes. So I think we should start every episode with what we're drinking. So Mom, you're in charge of making the cocktails. So what are we drinking right now?
Right now, this is my famous, guess you can call it famous, smell. I've been drinking this for years, actually due to a good friend of mine that got me into it years and years ago. And then I also got Justine interested, which I don't know if was a good thing or a bad thing.
And this is how, like, first we were gonna start this podcast with Cosmos with my mom. But you know what? Why limit to one cocktail? I think every episode should have some type of different cocktail, just to make it more fun. So, anyway, so let's talk about how we started this podcast. Like, why did we create this podcast?
I can tell you how it originated.
Okay, go for it, mother.
Okay. We were out and about actually visiting her, and we were out for dinner with my husband, her boyfriend, Regan. And we were all having dinner and having good drinks and a good time. And when my daughter and I get together drinking, oh boy. So she said to me, Lee, hey, Mom, we really have a lot of deep conversations when we're drinking. And wouldn't it be nice if we can create a podcast doing that? And I'm like, sure, I'll go for it. So this is where we are.
Cheers. So I think our conversations are just like funny, like when we start drinking. So I was like, why don't we just put a mic in front of us? I think we're hilarious.
Even when we're not drinking.
Yeah.
We have interesting things happen in our lives.
For real. And you know what? I think that nobody knows who we are, so I think we should talk about just for like a little introduction of who we are, what we do, so we can kind of get an idea, be like, who are these ladies? Like, who do you think they are coming on this podcast thinking they're cool? Anyway, so
we did introduce ourselves.
kind of. Okay, so my name is Justine, and just a little background of myself. I am an actor slash podcaster slash social media manager. And yes, mother, what do you do? What's your background?
Me? Okay, we want the credentials are not up there, but no. What do? I am a stay-at-home, used to be, well, I am a stay-at-home wife because my children are grown. So this is my youngest. I also have another child, Tara, who lives in New Jersey, where I'm originally from, and so is she. And I have my grandchildren there. So I guess I am a stay-at-home wife slash ex-mom soon.
Ex-mom?
Ex-mom in the sense that I don't have to mother you like I mothered you growing up. Now it's the good time. It's the fun time because they're adults now. So I get to, reap my, what do you call that? Reap my reward?
I guess.
So I'm just here having a good time and enjoying my life right now with my adult children and my 3 grandchildren. I'm going to go visit soon. And that's where I'm at.
When you were, when we were in Jersey and you were younger, and well, obviously you're still a mother, but did you think that in the future that you would start a podcast?
First of all, I would not even have known what a podcast was. So no, there is no way I would have thought about that. Never.
And I feel like you're just such a different person as well, like back in the day, and I feel like we can go like deep into that. But let's see, what is going to be our topic for today?
I thought this morning I mentioned to you about living home and then living on your own, how it's changed. And I mean, we can go into the whole thing about how we even got to move to Florida. I mean, it started with you, and your dad always wanted to come since he came to the United States. He came when he was 5 years old, and he's always wanted to live in Florida. But that wasn't the case at that time, so he always wanted to do that as him and I met. And he created this space coming here. So I think pretty much that's the gist of it. But we can, if you want to talk about how we got here, and originally with you, And then how I
It all
followed?
started when I was born.
What? What? You started when you were born.
And now I was gonna say, what should we talk about? Let's start day one, August 7th, 1995.
I'm not talking that far back. I'm talking about just coming into Florida. It was, you're here almost 10 years. I'm here almost
9 years.
9, and I'm here 4. But you just asked me honestly, would you ever think that I would be on a podcast? No. Did I ever think I would be living in Florida? No. So life just hands you what it hands you, and you take it and you enjoy it. And if there's little bumps in the roads, you got to keep going, I guess. That's what I think.
So let's talk about today. Remember, I was telling you about a scene that I had to do in class, how I had to act like weren't you watching Leave It to Beaver today? Okay, so you were watching Leave It to Beaver, and then I was telling you about how I had to play a character that was a mentally deranged, pill popping housewife. So, and this was like in the 80s, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, when did you become a housewife? Well, not housewife, but like.
You talk about the drastic difference.
Yeah.
Watching a 1950s sitcom even before I was born and feeling comforted by the old ways. And here she is talking about 1980s, which I lived through, and I know what she's experiencing in her acting because I lived through it. So we're just talking about, different things in life, and how I just started watching Leave It to Beaver again. And I, for some reason, find it comforting I don't know why. I mean, I know that whole thing is all about perfection and someone, going in vacuuming with pearls on and high heels. I mean, that's not reality, but I guess people kind of take comfort in it thinking, well, it's a dream. And then the reality of her showing up as what was it? A pill popping, sex deprived,
mentally deranged, pill popping housewife.
In the 1980s.
When was the time when AIDS were like killing everybody?
1980s.
Yeah, so it was the 80s.
Yeah, 1980s.
Yeah, let's talk about the 80s.
They were good times. I miss the 80s. That was when I grew up. I graduated high school, met my husband.
Oh, let's talk about. Oh my God, I feel like now I think the Cosmos kicking in right now because I know we can talk about. What? Let's talk about how you dated a drug dealer.
God, Justine. I didn't even know. That's how naive I
feel like
was.
there was so much fluff when we first started, and now I have a couple of not couple of drinks. I had a little bit of Cosmo in me, and I'm like, oh, let's talk about how you dated a drug dealer. Ooh, I think that's a great first topic.
Yeah, but I didn't even know it at the time.
That makes it funnier.
Well, I was always young, and he lived in Florida, and he used to come visit his family, and I met him. And we started going out, but then he had to keep going back and forth to Florida. I don't know why. I was dumb. Oh, I got to see my mom over there because I'm here with my brother in New Jersey, which is visiting. But I'll keep coming back and forth. I think we were dating 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
3 years?
Yeah.
3 years, you had no idea he was a drug dealer.
Because I was young and naive. Or maybe I did subconsciously, but didn't really want to know. But didn't work out because eventually he was unfaithful to me, which was the kicker. So I said, no more. And that's ironically when I met your dad, it was like, it just happened to work out perfectly that he came into my life at the time that I was like enough with the person that you mentioned. So, and that was over 45 years ago. So if I hadn't met dad, you wouldn't be here. You or your sister or the grandchildren that there are in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that our souls would still be here. We'll just be different personalities and look differently.
Well, you believe in past lives?
I just believe because you know how you guys say, "Oh, if I didn't meet your father, you wouldn't be here." I'm like, I feel like I could have been here, just like looking like a completely different person, having a different personality.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have the best like being here with me and being my daughter.
No, but I could still be your daughter.
Really?
Yeah, just like. The soul
then
is.
I would have to be another person.
No, okay. So, like, I mean, when really, like, this is just my philosophy. We don't really know how this works. Think about it right now. You've met dad, you married dad, you had me. There could have been, like, a long lost daughter you could have had, but you didn't because you had dad and then you had me. You kind of see what I'm saying here?
You're trying to say to me that I could have been someone else. No?
No, I could have been someone else. Oh, we're just confusing
But then how
everybody.
can I have a long lost daughter?
I'm thinking really deep right now.
Yeah, it's no more Cosmos for you.
No, Mom, you didn't fill this up high enough. What happened here? You're going weak on me.
Because that's what came out of the shaker.
Well,
Don't worry, we'll fill it up later. I'm on. Look at me. I'm down to. Well, I was the same as you, but I started earlier. But
I
anyway,
know. You started drinking while I was working really hard setting up our studio.
yeah. Well, my job was
You got the easy
getting the
job.
goods.
You got the easy job. I got the hard labor with like just putting things like, with the box lights and the phones.
Look at how beautiful it all worked out.
I know. Oh my God, it
We're
was
here
so
in,
rough.
Never Never Land.
I know, right? Let's talk about how you were kidnapped.
Oh goodness.
I can't believe I didn't know about this story until like a year ago.
See, this is when the stories that she's bringing up come out because I've had a couple of these.
But no, we weren't drinking when you told me that story. We were in the car. I was driving to Orlando. We were just in the car together. I don't know how I got into the conversation, but we weren't. We were intoxicated. We were sober.
Well, I had a that was the person we were speaking of that I was naive and vulnerable for. And it was towards the end, like I mentioned, when I had met my husband and I had said no more. And he was visiting and he said, please, let's just have one more dinner together so we can, have closure and such. And I said, all right. And I asked, my husband, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, I guess. And I asked him and he was like, sure. Cause he has a heart. So I went to dinner with this person and then I came back to my home and he was, going to drop me off and my husband was going to meet me there so I can continue, being with him that evening. But unfortunately, he didn't want to let me out of the car. So it was a little, traumatic there. And, of course, my husband, and he rolled down the window and he told my husband off. And, now you know how it feels if someone's taken from you. And it was just a little bit extreme. So I had a friend who had an apartment not that far from where I lived. So I kind of coerced him into thinking, well, why don't we go to so-and-so's house and talk more? And he's like, sure, because he knew the girl. And he wound up, taking me to her house. And I ran up the stairs before him and I knocked quickly on her door. Thankfully, she was home and she opened the door and I ran in and said, close the door. And he was banging, banging, banging. And unfortunately, he banged for a while and then he gave up. And I think I called my husband from the house, from her apartment once he left. And he came back over. And that was the end of that. But it was quite a scary situation. But thankfully, I had sense enough to try to get out of it without having him upset. I felt like a Lifetime movie at that point. But Lifetime wasn't around then, but it would have
It
felt like a
wasn't.
Lifetime movie. It was, I used my head, thankfully, and I got out of it. But not again.
I can't believe I didn't know this for like all of these years. Like that's so traumatic. And then you just said it like nonchalant. I'm like, Mom, that's a traumatic experience.
Because it's so many years ago.
Still. That's so crazy. Imagine like he finds you. Wait, that came out really bad. That's not how I meant that.
I don't even think.
You think he's dead.
I don't know if he's alive or dead. I mean, I honestly, he wasn't a bad guy. He just had a very
He
hard.
just kidnapped you. It's
He
fine.
just had, he had, he had a bad temper, which wasn't good. And he never hurt me in any way, physically or any of that. But then the abuse emotionally wasn't good. But then I found your dad and we took it from there and life goes on, right? You learn from your mistakes. Thankfully, I was smart enough to think rationally, even though I was freaking out, but we do what we have to do. And the world's, hate to tell you this, Justine, but the world's harder now than it was when I was growing up.
I feel like that can be in so many different episodes about how like the difference, such the difference in like just the world and dating and like relationships and dating is like a really like popular topic.
That'll be a completely different topic. Because I wouldn't want to date now, honestly.
Mom, you can't.
I mean, if I was younger, I see the world the way it is, and it's a good thing and a bad thing a lot. I think technology is good when it's used properly. I like the idea of, being able to get things quicker in any, in retrospect, but it's also invasive, which I don't really look, I mean, I could be a hypocrite about it. Think about it. You want one way, but you don't want it all. You could just, what do they call it? have your cake and eat it too. I don't know if you listeners are understanding that, but that's from my time. Have your cake and eat it
No, I
too.
mean we still say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's just, it's, you got to live day to day. And although my daughter tells me living here in Florida has made me a different person,
You have to specify which daughter.
I'm talking to you. Both, actually, you just said that. Ironically, my oldest daughter did mention it to me also. She told me, Mom, she wasn't happy about me leaving, but she thinks we have a better relationship. And that's a great thing. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
So I guess to me, universe or God, whichever, I believe in that stuff is working. And you got to have your faith in something. And I have my faith in God and I live day to day on it. But yeah, it's interesting to find out how your life will work out and turn out. And you never know. Never say never. It's another one, another quote.
So let's talk about the differences in dating. If you were to date right now, there would be like you'd be using like the apps,
Oh, goodness.
like Tinder, Bumble. I was gonna say Grinder.
Speed dating. I heard
I
about
was gonna
speed
say
dating.
Grinder, but I think Grinder's for gay people.
Okay. But I'm talking about speed dating too. They do that now. It's very
I mean,
interesting.
luckily, I'm so glad that we're both like we have we're committed relationships, but like we don't got to deal with this. But yeah, wait, speed dating. Wait, hold up. You're hearing lately it's been like popular?
Yes, it's become very popular, and I thought it was an oddity to be able to just go from one person after 5 minutes, your alarm goes off. Okay, now
How much can you learn in like 5 minutes?
I don't. When I was growing up, you met your significant other either through friends that you were with,
Uh-huh.
or you hung out at a bar, which I didn't at that time in my life. But you went to a bar, you met someone through another friend. Actually, I met my husband through a friend.
Yeah.
And then I made my friends relationships with them. And I've had friends over 40 years that I'm very, very lucky to have. And that's how it's been. I mean, that's how it was when we were growing up, to have a commitment to your friends, to your husband. It may sound boring, but that's to me, I enjoy
I
it.
think that's what millennials want now and Gen Z.
But it's not out there for you guys because it's a different aspect of life.
I'm very lucky that I was able to do everything like traditionally, like old fashioned. Like I did use dating apps once. Did I tell you that?
No.
Okay, yeah. So when I was yeah, so I used a dating app like once. I was single. Can't remember, like I think it was between, I'm not gonna mention names. It was between the person that you almost met but then broke up with me before you met him and Regan. And so I think I was like single for like a year or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is kind of like how people are dating these days now. And this was also when we were post pandemic, so we're always home. Maybe that's why I was like, okay, I'm barely going out, like let's use the apps. So I downloaded Bumble and then I went on it and just like matched, I'm trying to remember, it's so like fuzzy, but of course you match and you talk a little bit. Like the thing is I love about Bumble is that the girl has to make the first move.
Oh, because I think she can see if she's interested first, right?
Yeah, because guys are weird. No, I'm serious. Like Tinder, for example, like it doesn't have that. So like Bumble is really like women friendly, which I really like. They prioritize women because yeah, on Tinder was like the first dating app, and so like men were gross. They would just like be creepy. I mean, that's kind of how Tinder started. Like in like actually started like their first target was college kids, and so there were like booty calls. Like that's people use Tinder for. I mean, now people find their significant others through Tinder. It's not like how it used to be. At least I don't think it. I'm not on it, but yeah. So that's what I liked about Bumble is that like at first I didn't realize it until I was like, man, why is no one like messaging me? In my head, I'm like, man, no one wants to talk to me, like. But then I noticed, oh, okay, it says women have to make the first move, and I'm like, that's good because, like I said, men are gross. They're creepy. They're like, hey, just being all weird and everything like that, and then girls is like, So I like how girls make the first move.
That's
so
a good idea.
Yeah.
And that was on Bumble.
Bumble.
But
Tinder.
Tinder was just all about a booty call kind of thing.
I mean, I'm sure when they first started the app, I don't think that was probably the intention.
No, but it
But
worked
then
out that
that's
way.
kind of how it happened because their first target, like their first audience were college kids. And so I watched this movie on like the founder of Bumble and how she actually was part of the founding team for Tinder.
Really?
Yeah. And then she left Tinder because
She wasn't happy about
they
it.
screwed her over. Like they were like it's like a woman in a man's world. Uh-huh. And they were horrible to her. I mean, I don't know how much truth there was to the actual movie itself, but like it seemed like yeah, she was like living in a man's world and it was just like something contract wise screwed her over. Something like that. I don't remember. But she started her own and called Bumble and she made it woman friendly, which is great. Good. I'm glad that she did something like that. That's what we need. And so, anyway, so with Bumble, yeah, women could be the first one to reach out. And so, yeah, I'm sure I like talked to some people are like probably boring or whatever. But then there was this one person that we talked enough where we're like, okay, let's go on a date. And so, we decided to do a date at Disney Springs because obviously always do a date in like a public area, very public area. So, yeah, so we're like, okay, yeah, let's go on a date at Disney Springs.
Heard this story. Okie Okay, continue.
And then so he like was an hour late.
Are you serious? That's not a good impression.
Oh my god, it gets better. So I get to Disney Springs and he was like, "Oh, sorry, like I got caught up in like a meeting." Like he's a very business-minded person and I was too. So I was like, that's kind of how we connected. And so he was like busy, something like ran late or whatever. And so I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I didn't expect it to be an hour late. Like I was just like literally sitting at like in Disney Springs they have like that Coca-Cola building. And so at the time, they were still like serving alcoholic beverages. I just had like a drink and I was just waiting. And then, like, finally, I meet him after an hour. And I don't think we didn't go to eat anywhere. We were just kind of like, just walking around Disney Springs and talking. Like, that's what it was. But the weirdest thing is, like, he wasn't asking me questions, like, trying to get to know me. It was like, I felt like I was in like a job interview. Like, it was really weird. So I was on the app for the purpose of dating. He was on the app, I guess, for the purpose of like just networking. Yeah, so like his some of his questions were weird. Like he was asking me what like my business pitch, like my elevator pitch would be about mentally a badass.
So he probably was just interested in you because of on a business level type of thing.
Yeah, that's what it
And
sounded like.
why go on a bum?
Exactly. I'm like, you're on the app for the wrong reason. It was weird.
I hope you gave him to that hour.
I don't remember what happened. I just thought that this was just, it was like, it was like I mean, obviously it doesn't matter now, but it was, at the time it was kind of a bummer because he was like really cute. Like,
We don't go for that no anymore. You can't do that.
no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, you can't do that.
Come on. I was just saying that, yeah, like he was really cute, but it was just a really weird situation. I'm like, dang, I thought you like wanted to get to know me and like romantically, but apparently we're just in a business meeting. Like,
Okay, now let's go.
and that was my only experience. And I was like, thank you, Regan, for coming into my life because that was horrible.
Now, speaking of Regan, you asked me how I met your dad. Well, you actually didn't ask me how I met your dad, but you asked me about my ex situation. So let's go into the part of
Archives?
how you met Regan.
How I met Regan? Yeah, good question. Yeah, so I met my boyfriend Regan, which people are probably like, who the heck is that guy? So back in the day, back in my day, I was a YouTuber and I went to VidCon, which is like a YouTuber convention and whatever. And so I just went there in like June of 2019 and we met briefly for like 2 seconds, like at like we were both eating lunch at the same time. And I think like it was like food trucks and there wasn't like as that much table space. So from I thought I went up to him and asked for space, but apparently Regan told me that he and his friend came up to me and asked if he can sit at the table. Imagine I said no. Imagine I was a mean girl and was like, you can't sit with us. So yeah, anyway, so I was like with my friends and I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, there's space, you know. And then yeah, of course, just naturally we were just chatting, and that's just how these events are. We're all supposed to be social. We're all on social media, so it'd be kind of weird if we're at like a picnic table and we all just like look like don't like don't talk to each other. So naturally we just ask, oh, so what do you do? Like, what's your channel? Well, let's follow each other on Instagram. That's just the basic conversation. And then so we follow each other on Instagram. And the funniest thing that Regan told me that he was going to unfollow me after VidCon because he thought I was 16.
You never told me that.
Oh.
Well, how old were you then? You were
I was not
24?
16.
It was
I was like,
2019.
yeah.
So you
Like,
were 24.
yeah, I was not 16 at all. But then I guess like later on Instagram, I guess I posted an Instagram story of me drinking wine or something like that, or something that showed that I'm at least over the age of 21.
But he's only 3 years older than you, right?
Like three and a half.
But then he thought you were 16, so that was
Well, that'd be kind of gross, Mom. Plus, I
No,
think,
that's why he didn't. That's why
well,
he
yeah, I
unfollowed
mean, if he
you.
thought I was a minor, like, it'd be
Right.
weird. So, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, he probably thought I was like a young person. I mean, I do look young, and also at the time I had the lavender wig.
Oh
So when he met me
yeah,
for the
yeah,
first time, I
that's
had
right.
lavender hair. So, and I was all like animated. It made sense that he thought I was like young, and a lot of people there were young because they're like YouTubers and stuff like
All
that.
right.
So, yeah, so that's fun fact for that. But then, yeah, then he realized I am not the age of 16 and stayed following me. Imagine I didn't post me drinking wine.
The clinch.
I mean, that's what he said. That's what he told me. Apparently, a story I had like an alcoholic beverage somewhere. Maybe I was out to dinner or something like that. Like, that's why he didn't unfollow me because he saw an alcoholic beverage and it just said, okay, she's at least over the age of 21.
Well,
So,
that was good. Respectful of him, knowing that he has that back boundary. Some guys would be, who cares, But let me ask you a question. I thought that he also offered to get you water.
I don't know, probably.
Remember something about that you needed water.
Maybe I was thirsty and he was just like, "Oh, you can have my water bottle." And
Yeah, I
I don't
remember
know.
something like that.
I honestly, I didn't really think it was like a huge big deal of like the story. I barely remember.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm just like, what? I need water, and he gave me water.
No, but he was nice enough to go get it for you.
No,
You
I
don't
think he
even
just
know
had.
him.
I think he just had it in his like bag.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
I thought he went.
I don't know what happened there. Whatever. Uh, anyway, so from there, obviously, like we didn't really like talk because, like I said, I also at the time I was dating somebody else. He like, which is crazy because like he broke up with me literally like when I was at VidCon. Is that crazy?
Oh, really? I don't
I
know.
don't know if that was the day that I was. I don't know if I was single the day I met Regan, or if I was taken. There was 2 days. I was single one day and dating somebody the other day. Who knows? But anyway, so yeah, then time went on. That was 2019, then 2020. Well, end of 20. No, yeah, and I think in like 2020, end of 2020, when the world's on fire. I mean, the world's currently still on fire, but like
March of 2020 was when it happened with the virus.
no, but I think that we started, I guess, maybe being friends in like, because remember, it was election time in 2020,
Oh,
right? At like November. So I think him and I kind of bonded over just the chaos of our country and we like had alignment there. So I think that's kind of when started more of like Instagram DM conversations. I probably posted a story, he probably responded. It was probably something like that, it sounds like. And then yeah, then 2021 rolled along and that's when I started doing One Hope. And at that time me and Regan were not really friends, but like we have a decent amount of conversation on Instagram and I was like trying to find my first person that I wanted to do an event with to raise money. And we've talked about how mental health is important. And I was like, oh, let me reach out to Regan. And he was my first person I did the event with.
yeah, I remember.
And that's how we started like talking more because we moved our conversation from Instagram DMs to Facebook Messenger, which I feel like that's like a completely different level, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like Instagram DMs is like casual, and then Facebook is like, okay, you're going more close knit with me. Anyway, so we had to go to Facebook to do the event, and we did pretty well. We raised our goal, yeah, and then after the event, then he told me he was like, hey, just letting like, I'm I'm starting to like have feelings for you, and in my head I'm like, I was like, I'm not interested. Like, also that I just wasn't like in the mood for dating. That's like one thing. Oh, by the way, this whole situation was before the Bumble guy.
The who?
The Bumble guy.
It was before.
Yeah. Because I remember Regan like confessed his love for me when I was living at that one apartment before I moved, remember?
So
I
wait.
think. Or maybe it was like maybe it was all around the same time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so because Regan liked me for a year before I actually was like, okay, yeah, I think you're cool. So anyway, so he told me that he liked me, and I was just like, oh, like honestly, like I thought in my head, some woman would just kind of run the other way and be like, oh, this is awkward now. Like he just said he liked me, but I'm not interested. Like I'm just gonna like slowly ignore him. But I didn't do that because I don't feel like that's right. So I said that I said like, hey, I appreciate your honesty, and I don't feel that way about you. Of course, we can still be friends. And he's like, yeah, yeah, like absolutely. And we did. We stayed friends. And then he would just like randomly like message me. Like not he like it was interesting. He didn't message me a lot where it was weird and like leave me alone and annoying. But it wasn't like he didn't. So he was good by not being creepy. Where like some people just like they'll like message me like every day and just be super annoying, and it was just like a huge turn off. So he didn't do it like an everyday kind of like like he wasn't annoying. He would start the conversation 99.9% of the time, but like he did it where I had space that I can breathe. Not like if he reached out to me and let's say I don't respond, or you know what I mean? Like he had the respect there. So I think if he didn't do that, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I've had guys in my life, like this is gonna sound very like, I'm not trying to sound like a big ego, but Rega's not the first guy that said like, oh, I'm having feelings for you, and I turned them down. And then people can be kind of annoying, and then I block them, and yeah. But anyway, so Regan, he wasn't like weird or anything like that. So that's a good green flag. And then yeah, and then so just throughout the year, we'll just talk or whatever. And then I remember Thanksgiving, he was fighting with his family, so he wasn't invited to Thanksgiving dinner. And I felt really bad, so I invited him to like virtually to my dinner with Laura and Rebecca. And I was really drunk that night. I think like since I was like drunk, I think like I did have some feelings, but like I was blocking it out the whole time. But you know what it is? I think I did a lot of blocking too because I'm just like, you live all the way in Washington and I'm in Florida. Like this is a waste of time. And at the time I was still working for Disney. So like it just didn't make any sense for me. Like you only have so much PTO. But then everything all happened at once. Remember when I started getting social media management clients from Fiverr. Like my Fiverr blew up overnight, and then I was able, and then you guys just conveniently moved to Florida. So everything was just kind of aligning, and literally my whole life just completely took a freaking 180 or 360 or whatever. So everything just kind of perfectly aligned. So you guys came because dad wanted to move, so that was good timing. And then at the time I was already like hating Disney and everything, like already like miserable and such. It got worse. So, I was already miserable at Disney starting at like 2019. I mean, let me clarify here. I love the company. Disney overall is a great company. It was just the job and the dealing with the constant pressure in the call center. It's not what I want to do with my life, and over time it just burnt out. But it got worse in the pandemic because they made us work multiple jobs, and so it was exhausting, so it was worse. And I think another thing too is like when I worked in the office, at least we're all together and we can all suffer together, while like I'm just suffering in my bedroom by myself. Yeah, anyway, so I was ready to get out, and oh my god, I remember I was also Disney has a Disney Aspire program where I remember I went to school for like a year and I learned social media business and such. And I'm so glad that Disney paid for that in full. That was very nice. And they literally paid my exit out. And yeah, so between that and then the Fiverr thing, I was like, okay, the universe is saying you should need to be doing, this is your time to get out. Because also with you guys moving here, and like I told myself, I'm never going back to Jersey. You guys moving here, being in Florida, I was like, okay, like just give me like a year just to kind of get my business up and going, right? Anyway, so with that, so now obviously I'm working from my laptop, so I have the flexibility and such. So I was like, okay, let's try this out, but I don't want to start being your girlfriend. Like I want to go on a proper date. I don't want to be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I want to be my girl. You know what I mean? Like I'm traditional in that way. So he bought my plane ticket to Washington. And oh my God, you remember when dad was pissed off?
I remember him being upset about something, but I don't know why.
Remember that he like looked up Regan and Facebook, and then Regan I think had something about being in a cult or something like that.
But he wasn't in a cult. It was just
No,
something he
mom.
projected.
Side note: Dad thinking like, oh, he saw like Regan has a lot of tattoos. Regan has a lot of tattoos, and then like also it did not help that Regan had some weird picture about being in a cult, which obviously he's joking, but like that's Dad's first impression. So remember, Dad called me and started yelling at me,
Yeah.
and then you were like trying to calm him down.
Because I'm the type of person where you meet people for I don't judge people on how they look. I mean, they could be a guy in a suit and holding a briefcase, and then there could be another guy in an alley that looks disheveled, and who do you think you want to go with? And everybody will say, of course, the guy in the briefcase, right? But
Mm.
you don't know that. You don't know the guy in the alley can come up and protect you. I try to give people, an idea of what they look like and trust them. You shouldn't be able to trust anybody. You have to have your gut feeling. But I hope I always felt like I don't want to judge anybody because I don't want to be judged. I mean, of course, I'm not 100%. I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but there's times that I'll be like, oh, look at that one or this one. But that's really not my full makeup. And I hope I instill that somewhat
Mm-hmm.
too. But getting back to the situation, we're always going off course somewhere. You needed to speak to Regan and see him before you could say any kind of other emotions or anything else you were feeling.
Yeah. So anyway, and then I think Dad was also just concerned safety wise. Like,
Of
yeah, no,
course.
I know. And like, but I remember, I mean, at the time I was like upset, but I just know myself too. And what I did, it's like, I had all that stuff in mind, obviously. Like, hey, yeah, I'm going to a different state. Like, what if he's weird, blah, blah, blah. But I did have my backup plans. I like looked for like hotels nearby, like just in case it's like weird. Like I had a plan, backup plan, just in case if it went south.
And you were on I had you on track.
Oh my god. We should have a whole episode of how do you feel about your mother? I would title it My Mom Stalks Me.
I do not stalk you. You allowed me to do it.
Yeah, so that's how we met. And then we were long distance for a year. And then he moved to Florida, what, like 3 years ago? 3 years.
We moved down here in 21. He died.
He died?
God give me strength here. No, he wound up coming down in 23. We bought the
Was
house.
it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So me and Megan started dating in 2022.
Right.
And then so 2023.
You did
Yeah.
a year of bicoastal, I guess what they call it.
Mhm.
And then he did decide to come here for you, and that's true love.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at in that retrospect.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do you think the next topic should be?
Okay. Okay, so we're done with talking about relationships right now. And Mom, what next topic should we talk about for next week's episode?
Food for thought. What should we talk about? I
I
guess
feel like
transitioning from New Jersey to Florida on both our
no,
experiences.
let's see what are hot topics. So things we wish we knew at each other's age. This one's gold. Okay, so next week we are going to talk about my mom in her not actually no. I guess let's do 20s because I just turned 30, so I don't really have much experience of my 30s yet. And let's talk about the difference because Mom, didn't you like when did you have Tara?
I had her at 27.
Really? I thought you had
I
her
was
like
33
24.
with you. Yeah, we should understand the difference in ages at the times we were growing up. That would be
Yeah.
a good topic.
Yeah.
The differences.
Okay, guys, so next week we are going to be comparing our 20s. Mom, what years were you in your 20s?
Say it again.
What year were you in your 20s?
Well, was I in my 20s? Let's think. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Wait a minute. I would say I was 82.
Okay, so 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in your 20s and your 80s, and then in your 80s. Well, you were in your 20s in the 80s, and I just finished my 20s, and it's 2026. So that means that I was in my 20s, like in the between 2000 and like 15 and up. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Okay, guys, thanks for listening.
We'll talk
And
about that next time.
yes, and if you guys listened all the way here, I mean, I guess you guys like us, right?
If I'm sorry, say that again.
I guess they like us if they listened all the
I
way.
hope if you have
Yeah, so you know what they should do, Mom? You know what they should do, Mom? They should rate us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And follow our Instagram and TikTok.
Hopefully we'll get thumbs up.
See ya.